2 thumbs up.
This is your brother Speech from the crew Arrested Development, and right now you're rocking with and watching Lyvation Conversations.
This is your girl, It's Karma, and I am on Lyvation Conversations.
Shout out to Lyvation Conversations. Thank you for the opportunity to be joining you guys. This is a wonderful platform, and we appreciate you.
All right, y'all, it's your boy Shizzle without a whizzle today, and I'm kicking it right here on Lyvation Conversation.
It's your boy Big Herb Middleton. I'm here with my man DJ Strong, Lyvation Conversation.
This is Judge Joe Brown, and I want you to come with me and be where I have been and check out Lyvation Conversation. They got it going on. You need to have it that way to check it out.
Thank y'all very much. One time for your mind, 2 time for your soul. Peace.
Keep watching.
That's an order.
Lyvation, ENT.
I want to thank our esteemed panelists. As always, make sure that y'all subscribe, like the videos, please leave a comment. We want to hear from you. Peace and Lyvation. This is DJ Strong, and I want to welcome everybody back to another special edition of Lyvation Conversations. This is our producer edition. Just want to thank everybody for always tuning in and subscribing to all of our videos. Please don't forget to like our videos and leave a comment below. And if you want to be part of our network and get on the show, just leave us a comment. We'll get back with you. With that being said, I want to pitch it out to LA. LA, you with us tonight?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm right here. Glad to be here. Glad to see all the smiling faces out there. How you doing tonight, DJ Strong?
Hey, man, I'm doing great, man. I have to admit, I have some of my favorite people in the room with us tonight, and we're going to try to get around the room and get as many comments as we can. We also have our very professional and esteemed Lyvation panel here. As always, we got some of our favorites here tonight. My man Apex is here, KYs is here, AD is here, Lord Divine is here, CC Allure is here, the bad girl Shy Shy is here, T Deuce is here, T is here, and we got some other people that's logging on as we speak. But for right now, LA, I gotta start at the beginning, right? You know, because I've worked with a lot of people in this room, and for the people that I haven't worked with yet, we're working right now. We're looking forward to creating some good music. But I have to start at the very beginning, man. As a youth, coming up in my early childhood in this music thing, I gotta give a big shout out to my man Beat Club down there. Butch, are you with us? John
I'm here, man.
Hey, what's up? Hey, LA, if you didn't know, man, this is my first producer.
Wow.
The very first time I ever went to the studio was with this gentleman right here. You know what I'm
we
saying?
go way back, man.
That's awesome.
It's a blessing.
Yeah, so I had to you know, introduce him to you guys and let y'all know that he's a big part of my music family. And you know, this guy has a lot of wisdom and understanding, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he has to share. With that being said, Bush, just tell everybody, man, where they can find you online real quick.
You can find me online. You can find me on Instagram at B Club, Facebook, John Butch Phillips, and on my website is bclubproductions.com, and Twitter is B Club Music.
Okay, Butch, we
Club with a K.
B Club with a K. Spell it right.
Yeah.
Don't get it twisted.
Yeah, right.
We'll find you. But real quick, man, because I want to get to some of our other guests, man, and I want to get back to you later on in the show. But, you know, Butch, just starting at the beginning, man, throughout my travels, I've realized that everybody doesn't love music.
What?
I know that's hard to believe, LA, but it's true, man. A lot of people don't love music. So I got to ask you, bro, what brought you to love music like you do?
Music found me, man. And when it did, it sucked me in, and it's a love that'll never die. You know, because it's a language that we all speak, even when we don't open our mouths. The music speaks for you a lot of times. It represents the joys in our life, the past in our life, the things that we go through. We can always revert to a piece of music that reminds you of a little piece of nostalgia, man. takes you a place you can never go back to again.
Yeah, that's beautiful,
that's
man.
What it does for me.
Hey, same with me, man. You hear a song, you just instantly remember where you were when you first heard that melody, that lyric, that beat, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
Well, man, I'm looking forward to you adding on to the show tonight. So, you know, at any time, man, you just jump in on any part of this conversation.
Okay.
You know, just want to welcome you. Hey, LA. Now, I know when we first started on the studio venture, one of our main guys was Sherm.
Yep.
Sherm Head Productions, man.
Yep.
What up, Sherm? You with us, man?
Yeah, I'm with you, man. What's going on?
Like I say, Sherm taught me some tricks, man. He taught me some studio tricks, some production tricks as well. Sherm, man, I know you've been on this journey for a long time, man. So I want you to tell people where they can find you and your music real quick.
Right now, I'm on Instagram, produced by Sherm. That's produced by _Sherm. That's on Instagram. That's on Twitter. That's on Facebook. Everything produced by Sherm. That's SHERM, Sherm. So.
Okay. Hey, Sherm, I know you've been doing this for a minute, man. What skills, man, do you think an individual needs to really be a true music producer?
I mean, truly, like nowadays, you don't really have to have no skill. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, it's all fun and game. Like, I'm gonna be honest, like when I first started doing music, it was one of those kind of things. You had to have the drum machine, the MPC drum machine. You had to have the keyboard, the motif, or the Triton, or whatever the case is. It's just one of those kind of things where you had to know how to play. You had to know chords. You had to know scales. You had to know music. And for the most part, it's like right now, everything is at the click of a mouse. You know what I'm saying? You got the world at your fingertips, all the way down to networking. Like, I'm from a different school of music. Like, when it come down to networking, you had to be walked into a situation. You know what I mean? I can't just jump in somebody's inbox and say, hey, I got beats for sale, you know, 20 beats for 99 cents or whatever the case is. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And you get a lot of spam now. And it's one of those kind of things where I get it. You know, you got producers out there trying to get out their beats and you can't knock the hustle, but at the same time, one of the main skills I would say is just communication, man, networking with people, man, being more hands-on and just reaching out to some of these artists, pulling up on them at the studio. Let them feel like you're a part of the process other than just trying to sell them the beat. Does that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense. I mean, it's not like it's a, you know, this business has turned into like a cookie cutter kind of situation. You know, we're just fabricating, duplicating, and it's no uniqueness there anymore. The originality is being lost. You know what I mean? Just no authenticity.
Yeah.
And I think that comes with, you know, the high turnaround as far as the music is concerned.
Yeah.
It's
a lot of music being put out every day, man. So you're exactly right about the volume of music being put out. So yeah.
Cool. Well, welcome, Sherm. I'm glad you could join us tonight, man. I know you got a lot more information to share, so we're looking forward to that.
I'm glad to be here.
Oh yeah. Hey, LA. I know you. I know Apex and Divine. I don't know who else has Caribbean roots. You know what I'm saying? But we do have some international producers in the building tonight. We got my man Trevor by way of Apex. I know they're working on some big things. Deuce is involved in that project as well. So we're going to shoot it all the way to the islands to my man Trevor. Trevor, where you talking to us from, man?
I'm in Jamaica right now. Cool Hills of Stony Hill.
Okay.
Up in Stony Hill right now, yeah.
Nice.
What's the weather like, bro? What's the weather like, man?
It's pretty cool right now. Christmas breeze, you know what I mean? Past couple of weeks we've been getting a lot of rain, but like past 2-3 days have been really nice sun, blue skies, beach weather.
Now does that how does that your environment influences your production?
Well, see, in Jamaica, like music is being made in like the hundreds every day. And, you know, I don't think weather per se even affects production, but, you know, you always have a vibe, yo. Always have a vibe. I think most times, and for me, most times it goes back to that you know, thing that Sherm mentioned earlier, where, you know, you hear a song or you hear a tune and it take you back to a time and you say, yeah, you know what, let me go do something that takes you back to then. So that's kind of, you know, where you kind of go when you're looking to make some music. Well, that's for me at least. I mean, these days I'm more into just mixing and mastering now. Back when me and Pex used to hang tight in Orlando, we're making music back then, and mixing and that kind of stuff. As a DJ back then as well. But these days, it's more the mixing and the arrangement and that kind of stuff that I do. I mean, I have a lot of beats, but production, right now, I really only do production that I feel like doing, because again, you guys are hitting some things on the head. Everybody's a producer now, and the kind of work that goes into producing a really good track, especially down here in you know, dancehall and reggae, it's a different thing, different technical process, because these guys, some of these producers down here, you're lucky if you get 2 verses from an artist, you know what I mean? You know, the voice 2 verses, you know, grand total of maybe 8 bars, and then they just, you know, spin it back and that's it. But for me, I'm looking like, you know, 3 verses, bridge, you know, a little instrument solo, and then, you know, a full production. So I'm very picky with who I work with. And the good news is there are some artists now that are, you know, trying to take the music back to that. And it's kind of refreshing. You know, the Proteges, the Chronics, the like here, and, you know, those artists, Kabaka Pyramid, those guys are taking back the reggae music to a particular time when, you know, production was a completely different thing. So it's pretty good. It's pretty good. There are the pros, there are the cons, but we're all in this for the music. I've been in music since I was like, what, 7 years old. So, and that's a long time compared to where I am right now. I'm not telling you what my age is. No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
Your chin tells the story.
I'm 48, so I'm big boy. So yeah, so that's what's up here. I've gotten heavily back into my production. I mean, I let it go for a little while. I mean, it's not my 100% career. I do have a technology company. Actually, I'm a businessman. So for a number of years, I was kind of off the music tip. Got back into it about 2 years ago. As serious as I used to be. And it's really, the music is what brings the sanity back, man. And the work gets stale. And I did have some high stress jobs, so you Yeah, the music had to go back to it. Go back to it every time. So,
Cool.
so that's where I'm at.
Cool. All right. Well, hey, I want to take the initiative here and introduce our next producer. I met him about 5 or 6 years ago. I was working on the Wednesday wind down at Centennial Park. And for those who don't know, Wednesday wind down is a event that happens every Wednesday or happened every Wednesday in Centennial Park, downtown Atlanta. And it featured just a bunch of different artists from all kinds of different genres. Sometimes there's a bunch of DJs. But this one particular night I was over there and ran into this bass player, Mr. Trey Gilbert. And I swear to God, speaking of God, this is a bass guitar god. This guy is one of the most exceptional musicians I've ever seen in my life. And for those of y'all that don't know me, I worked at Sony Music from 1984 to 1994. I worked with the best of the best, Luther, the Jacksons, Mariah Carey. I ain't never seen nobody like Trey Gilbert, okay? This guy, just bad. I mean, when I saw him playing his bass guitar with one hand, I knew what time it was. I was like, yo, I got to talk to this guy. And he went on, I think it was, he's been the music director for Bobby Brown, and I'm going to let him tell you all about the numerous amount of people he worked with. But he sat up there on the stage and played Roney, by Bobby Brown, all by himself with that bass guitar and hit all the melodics, the chords, everything. So I just want to say from my heart, man, this is one of the best musicians I've ever met and worked with and had the pleasure to know. So welcome, Trey Gilbert, and just let everybody know about your background, your contacts, and everything.
Hey, how y'all doing? Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
What up, Trey?
Excellent. Yo. So yeah, I'm an ATL native. Thank you, LA. Man, your words are kind, brother. I have some amazing friends, so to hear you say that, it's like all the way crazy. I guess I should start the way everybody else started. My name is spelled Tres, so it's Trey Gilbert. You'll see my logo; it looks like a T on all platforms. TreyGilbert.com, all that, Instagram, Facebook, whatever, Twitter. I've been in the New Edition camp for about 14, 15 years now. I've been Bobby's music director for about 13, 14 years. BBD, I did 3 years of Soul Train Awards before 1500. Nothing them got it, and all the boys. We had the most in history at that time. It was like 4.2 million. I got like 6 Grammy nominations for some records with Frank McComb and Nesby and the Bobby Womack tribute album with Calvin Richardson. I've been blessed to work with, from Tony Braxton to Millie Jackson and 112 Silk, Sherelle. Strange you said Sony. Vivian Scott.
Vivian Scott?
Yes, is a
I know Vivian.
Very, very, very close friend of mine. Ray Chu, I helped do some musical supervision for Sunday's Best and stuff through Ray Chu, and anytime he comes to Atlanta, that's how Big Jim and got all hooked up with Daniel Moore. And I kind of have hands in things that people don't see because they, I'm from Atlanta, and if you come to Atlanta, it's just like if I was coming to Chicago or you go to the city, you got to see certain people, and it's just love like that. And we embrace everybody in Atlanta. Ain't nobody gonna tell you nothing different. And we just a big gumbo down here of just people from everywhere, and we're usually in everybody's bands. One ATL implant, I don't care who it is, producer wise, Goody Mob. Work with them, my bros, Cass. We did some work, a bunch of work with them. Just did some stuff actually with Jeezy, because I'm a bass player first. I'm a producer and all artists and all.
I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, bass player first, music director first. All that stuff goes first, and then production comes through the line after that. And I've just been blessed. I haven't. I can't say I had a crazy journey at all. Even in this COVID times, I just moved into this crib, this house and stuff, and my studio had just got finished. And it was what happened was it was an influx of people who realized they needed to get their thing done. They needed a studio. They needed to work on music, and I could cut whole bands and all this stuff, in the house,
Nice.
And so it opened itself up. Especially, actually, I was working on a TV show, trying to get this Ray Lewis is trying to do a TV show, so ended up getting that call. So we started working on the theme music and all this with the band, Lil John Roberts and Charlie Singleton from Cameo. That's the homie. I play with his band.
Trey, what is being that you have the home studio, what is your like daily regimen?
Oh, geez.
As a home producer, like.
Well, yeah, that's a whole nother monster. Because the first thing I got to do is wake up and have a cup of coffee. That's the first thing.
You waking up in the morning or are you waking up in the afternoon?
No, I think Trevor, me and Trevor the same age. Okay, so we wake up in the actual AM. We're not doing any noon business. I got a little homie. I got to get out to school and all this kind of stuff. I got a kid in college. You know what I'm saying? It's like I'm a little bit all over the place, but the regimen is to figure out what I have to do, like for the week. I try not to get to ahead of the week because it can become overwhelming. Like this week, I had 5 gigs, which is weird. You know what I'm saying? I'm at 3 cigar bars, with some Latin cats and some other little stuff. And it was just little things here and there. But then at the same time, Cameron Corvée, work with him with Sting and Lil Jon, work with Seal and Janet and all of them. So we had stuff that we was doing together. And tomorrow starts the new week. Today was my reset. Me, Lil Jon, the brass band, all the boys that you're going to see tonight on Soul Train Awards, a horn section with Blackstone and all the boys. Well, that's my brass band. Mike just dropped another record, PJ Morton and all. Everybody's all connected, right? So they do that tonight, got the stuff popping. Tomorrow we in rehearsal for a stream for Tuesday. Wednesday, whole nother thing.
So you got a hectic schedule, basically. That's what you're saying. Like
so you can't over process it. You can't get ahead of the game. I got a play that I'm trying to set up for a cat. Later on in the week it becomes something else. You know what I mean? Get out here, people send me tracks, and then whose track do I need to get out first? And I'll do that, go pick the kid up 4:30. Get the nanny by here if I got to be somewhere else. It's a total. Trevor, you know what I'm talking about. It sounds crazy, right? But it's
so you're balancing. So you got to balance the music with the real life situation.
Yeah, man.
I think we all doing that too, man. We jugglers out here, man. We juggle.
We didn't know. I'm telling you what. I mean, we were so overwhelmed by planes and tour buses, 4 months on the road, and I mean, none of us was enjoying our mortgage or our house. We didn't get it. We were just working. And the minute this all happened and you had this, it's probably about a good 2 months from March to about, May, where you were like in disbelief that, the industry shut down. Right. And then you start looking around like, oh man, I got all kind of stuff I could be doing at the house. I like the house. The house ain't bad. You know what I'm saying? Let me just be at home. I'm cool with this. It was like a light came on, right?
Yeah.
So I think, we're going to get back to some semblance of normal. But at the end of the day, as we get, as we progress in the game and know where we're supposed to be and what we're supposed to do, it's going to open itself up, like Sherm's talking about. Stuff's going to kind of come to you, and you're going to have to go to it sometimes at the same time and make your way to figure out where your new place is going to be in the game.
Well, that's one of the reasons why, we're doing the things that we're doing like this right here. Just to help ourselves as well as other people that are viewing this, because we all had to start somewhere. You know what I mean? And the first song had to start with a first note or a first beat. You know what I mean? And then the completion of the project and so on and so on. You know what I mean? So I appreciate you being here, man. We look forward to hearing some more from you. You know what I mean? We could always use your expertise up in this room. So thank you.
Yeah.
I'm honored to be here with you, with the elite, obviously.
Hey man, we all put our pants on the same way. Except for LA, I think he backflipping his. I don't know, I'm not sure.
That's a
But B Club, man, I know, like I say, man, I know you've been working with a lot of a lot of people, man. You've been working with a lot of R&B artists in your region, and I know you do a lot of bilingual stuff. You know what I'm saying? So like, what's like what is your genre of music that you cater to specifically?
I cater to R&B, but lately with the Latin things that I've been getting, I'm mixing the two and putting a little fusion together with the Latin and R&B together. You know, we got a Christmas song I just did with a Hispanic female. I wrote and recorded it like a few years back, but now we're gonna do a remix of it for next season. It's gonna have more of a Latin feel to it. It's called Christmas Time Again by Yvonne Ramos. Okay. And it's been spinning for about 5 years now, but next year it's going to be 2 different versions out, and I'm excited about that, man.
The cool thing about Go ahead.
No, go ahead, man.
No, I said the cool thing about what you're doing is like, you know, Christmas is, you know, that's seasonal, man. That's going to come every year. So that should be one of those timeless songs.
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
You know, once you release it, it should be forever, ever. Every year it's going to come back and represent.
Matter of fact, it was playing in a dinner club that I was at one night, and somebody said, "Hey, man, that's your music, right?" And I said, "Yeah, you know," but I didn't want to be, you know, all like that or whatever. But
oh, you was humble about it. I got
it was
you.
a little. Yeah, because you know I'm not gonna be like jumping up. Hey, that's my music. You know, no, I didn't want to do all like that. But after it went off, I heard somebody at the table behind me saying they heard that song before, but they didn't know where to buy it. And I didn't want to just turn around and just speak to them about it. But the guy that I was with turned around and said, "Hey, this is the guy that wrote it." And she just started talking to me. She was just, I signed a napkin. I mean, it was kind of silly and everything. But, you know.
Okay.
You know, because that's not my thing. I just like being behind the scenes. I don't like people seeing me, you know.
Hey, Sherm, you got to tell them, man, always walk around with a marker because you're going to have to sign people's breasts and all kind of stuff. So,
wow.
I've seen Sherm. I've seen some of his videos. I know what he be doing, man. Speaking of
I don't know what you talking about, man.
Speaking of Sherm, man, I know you wear a lot of hats in the studio, man, and outside the studio, like, you know, has the music has led you to other avenues within the industry, correct?
Yeah, of course.
Are those things starting to be more profitable than how you started? Or are you seeing a slow transition from where you began to where you are now?
It's slow for the most part. Like I say, I'm creating a lot of my situations. My first love is hip hop. So as we know, you know, hip hop has evolved, you know, from the 80s and 90s, 2000s, and where the music is now. You know, I don't know if that's still hip hop, you know, the sound that we are accustomed to, but it's still popular culture, and hip hop is popular culture. So,
well, I'm not trying to blow your spot up or nothing, man. But tell the room some of the people that you produce for.
Man, we're gonna be on here all night long.
No. Just give me about 30. No, I'm just playing. Just give me a couple. Just throw a couple names.
No, mostly like engineering, you know, credits for the most part. I don't have a lot of producer credits at all. I mean, a lot of my producer credits, starting back as far as 2006. I mean,
you were producer of the year one year.
That was 2018.
Yeah, that was actually 2016.
16. Okay.
2016. But I mean, for the most part, you know what I got going on now. Of course, I'm still working with Bubba Sparks. Mm-hmm. That's like country and rap. So, and that's kind of, you know, kicking in on what your initial question was. Just, you know what I'm saying? It's just one of those kind of things where in other genres, it's still slow. I mean, it ain't nothing more popping than the other one. You know what I'm saying? Like I say, hip hop is popular culture, but at the same time, you know, you still have other genres out there. Bubba Sparks, just to name one. We just did the film with Young Jeezy. It's actually a TV series, so a lot of what's going on now is just getting a lot of paperwork and song placements and things like that. The name of it is The Auctioneer. I believe last year we did the film festival in Tennessee, Nashville, Tennessee. Okay. So that's just one of those kind of things, you know. Even speaking about Nashville, that's country Hollywood, you know, to be honest. You got Dolly Parton, you got everybody over there, you know what I'm saying? Dollywood, all that. So, I mean, you know, but, and we doing, you know, the Caribbean style too. I'm touching base right now with some of the Caribbean style music. Mostly roots and culture. You know, when I say that, I mean like, you know, your Peter Tosh, your Barry Salmon, some of your, you know what I'm saying, like Bob Marley type vibes, you know what I mean? Right. Yeah. But it's just one of those kind of things where I'm dabbling with it, you know, I'm producing beats, like I say, and a lot of the elements now they on the website. You know, it's one of those kind of things where you get the one drop drum. And I mean, you got the chords and everything like that, but it's one of those kind of things with just building that vibe and getting in the studio with the artists. Like I haven't gotten into the dance hall or anything like that, you know what I'm saying, dubstep, but I'm definitely more, you know, into the roots and culture and just taking it back, man, and just really getting that authentic, you know, Caribbean sound, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, now I know we just released we just produced a Caribbean track with Andrew B's a couple months ago. Deuce, okay. Where you at? I know you was there a second ago, Deuce. I don't see you no more. And Deuce, I know he normally doesn't do dancehall Caribbean tracks like that. He's done some for us over the years. But Deuce, I mean, I know you did I know you did the production on that. Like, how was that for you? You know what I'm saying? Just to come out of your comfort zone and do something like
that. Well, greetings to all the Lyvation Conversation individuals on this set. To answer your question, I was just sitting in the studio one night listening to some, you know, vibing with some old school reggae, like some, I mean, real old school reggae. And that came out of that. That is just like, you know what? I want to go left instead of stay right here, dead center. And a lot of producers can sympathize with me on that. You may hear something, but you be like, wow, that's hot. Now I want to do something in that same vein. And kind of put it in a different, you know, put a different spin on it. And that's all I did. I wasn't trying to write for anybody. I was just, you know, being an instrumentalist, it was easy.
Okay.
I had no intentions on who would take it and who would get it.
I mean, it's a great song. If you haven't heard it, it's called Good Trouble, man. Y'all, it's on all digital streaming platforms. Y'all check it out.
Great.
You know what I mean? It's one of them songs, man. I call it movement music, you know what I mean? Because it's a sign of the times, but I think it's going to be one of those songs that'll last forever.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Make it timeless. And I know, Apex, you've been working on a lot of, you know, different vibes, man, as far as the hip hop and the Caribbean stuff. And I know technology is really starting to play like a big part in how we create music now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, like, what are your insights on the future, man, as far as what's going on with the technology and equipment we're using? Like, what do you see happening right now?
Well, first of all, before I answer that question, I hope me and Deuce don't feud on this answer.
Uh-oh, what you about to say?
Me and him feud on technology and hardware. Well, not so much technology, but hardware, but it's dealing with the technology of hardware, dealing with the digital and the analog, which I prefer both, but I prefer analog more. But going back, when I was running with Trevor some years back, it was more analog, more live play. And I hope it goes back to hardware. creating music with a mouse just doesn't really set right with me unless you're clicking on Pro Tools. You're clicking on Fruity Loops or Reasons, creating music. It's not the same as plucking a string of a guitar, stroking a piano, sitting on your trumpet, blowing through. It's not the same thing. Or, in my case, tapping on an MPC. And I know the brother, I'm not sure what his name was, Sherm was speaking earlier. No, it wasn't Sherm. It was the brother down there. Can't think of his name, but he has mentioned MPC. I consider that an instrument. Not all producers consider that an instrument, but it's how you create with that makes the outcoming product, your final product, your body of work. I hope it goes back to hard physical creation, not so much with clicking and dragging, and even though that's part of the process. But
I think when that happens though, man, a lot, somebody said earlier that everybody's a producer now.
Right.
And I think that's, that kind of separates people, not to say that you have to play an instrument, but when I came in, I know somebody like Butch, he would sit there literally with a piano and create it from scratch, right? All we had was a piano at that,
I like
starting
that.
out. And then he grew and we kept getting more and more equipment. You know what I'm saying? But so, how do you feel about the digital? How do you feel about the digital age of music now?
Me, I feel like, now it's almost to the point to where people don't appreciate how hard it was before, it was just drag and drop kind of stuff, because, Strong, when we go in the studio, man, we didn't even have nothing set up. I would go and write the music right there in the spot.
Right. I'm right with you.
Yeah, because we didn't have the technology that we have now. And we didn't have that kind of time to just be able to, just sit in front of a computer and make that kind of stuff happen. Those kind of things didn't even exist then. So it's like we had to be creative and actually know what we was doing, and since I can actually play an instrument, it made it a lot easier for me. And you was a diehard writer, and it brought out our real talents. A lot of these people, you can't, just because you got some stuff in your house, don't make you a producer.
Thank you.
Because I've been in studios, man, where I walked in and didn't play an instrument, but I guided my way through it, and I showed these people how to do it right. And I produced the actual track without laying one piece on my own. That's what a real producer is.
Right. I agree with that, man. Thank you, man. I want to introduce Cece Allure. She's one of our premier star artists, writers. I don't know if she play any instruments. Cece, you play instruments? You got to play your microphone first. Turn it on. Okay, there you go.
There we go. I was double muted. Oh, okay. Well, actually, my father, he was a pianist. So I grew up, my father used to play in bands and different things. So I had to learn. He made me learn how to play the piano when I was young. And I was his only daughter out of 6 kids. So he wasn't with the PE. He was like, PE or band? Oh, she going to band. Ain't no dressing out, nothing. You're not doing none of that. I know what y'all girls be doing at PE. So he's like, no. So I had to play the clarinet. So I learned how to play the clarinet and the piano. That's like the only 2 I've actually played.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I was just curious. All right. We'll get back to you. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Glad you can make it. We're going to go around the room to the ladies. Hey, Tia, I just want to say what's up to you, Tia. How you doing? Turn your mic on, Tia.
Yeah, I'm turning it on.
There you go.
All right.
You got to, I know you a aspiring writer and artist.
Yeah.
You got any questions for any of the producers that we have here tonight?
Well, for me personally, it's just I feel like I'm just getting started. After meeting you guys, I feel like I'm starting all over again.
Is that an overwhelming feeling, or is that something of confidence?
Kinda, because me and Deuce been rocking out for a long time, and we just hooked up again in the last year, Deuce? I think it is. Yeah, in the past year, and I had this idea for a song that him and I wrote together.
Okay.
To bring it current, to as far as the sound, because it was more like a 80s kind of track. I think we did it, back. It was maybe early 90s late 80s when we did it. And I don't know, it's a really good song, and I wanted to revisit it, and I asked him, and that's the project that we're working on right now. But yeah, all these brilliant minds in this building right now. Yes, I do feel a little bit overwhelmed.
It's a lot of talent up in here, for real. You know what I'm saying? So,
yo, Strong, I wanted to comment on the technology question.
Oh yeah, please do.
All right, so I'm kind of give you a history of my journey in music. Some of this not even Pex knows, right? So, so like I said, I was in music from like probably 6-7 years old. I came from a musical family. So my father, my brother, my sister, one of my 3 sisters. I learned. So I first started to sing, and I then learned to play the piano, and I was formally trained. So I have like formal training up to grade 5 Royal School of Music. Yeah. So then, went to the DJ thing and, logging our own crates and, learning on 1200s and, stealing out from school to go to the record store to go buy 45s or 12 inches to learn how to play and all of that. And, my training in music, it allowed me to be able to do what I do now, and what I've been able to do over the years. But one of the things that I noticed that was really intriguing to me was, we all appreciate, or most of us can appreciate the days when, look, you're in front of these big consoles, you have a whole bunch of gear off to your left, whether it's in a studio or whether you're playing in a club or on a sound system or anything like that. And you had to learn how to manipulate that gear for a particular sound. And then, in comes technology, right? And suddenly you're not lugging around, and Pex can tell you, because Pex used to carry some of my record crates with me when we used to go to the club. But suddenly, up comes Sarata, you don't walk with crates anymore, you walk with a knapsack and a laptop, right?
Yeah.
You still have to know how to play music. You still have to know how to beat match. You still have to understand the technical aspects of what a good mix is, right? Technology doesn't solve that problem. You can have people with the technology and they don't know how to mix, right? They don't know, 4 measures. They don't know, when a bar starts and ends. So technology doesn't solve that problem. When you look at the studios, my rig right now is a laptop, very beefy one, and I've started down the path to mixing entirely inside the box on headphones. Okay. Now, what that does for me, and it's interesting, because when I moved back to Jamaica in 2006, I was mixing at studios in a way that they'd never seen before. So I had an interface, like one of those small interfaces that could fit in my knapsack, a laptop, and I would go into a studio with Pro Tools on my laptop, hook up my audio interface, and I'd start, taking vocals and all of that right there. And these guys will sit down with like a Control 24, like what you have behind you there, Armstrong, and a whole bunch of gear. And I'd be like, yeah, I'm doing the same thing you're doing. On
your laptop.
So, but the thing about it was, what was interesting about that was, because of the technology, I could know, and I can know, look at somebody and say, look, if you want me to mix this thing on a Neve console, I can. If you want me to mix it on an SSL console, I can. If you want me to mix it on a on a Focusrite console, I can. Why? Because I have those tools at my disposal, right?
Right.
Now, the fact that I have them doesn't mean that, oh, magically I can mix like, some of the greatest mixers of all times, like Greg Wells and Andrew Sheps and those guys. But the thing is, if you understand the trade from the jump, when you used to do it the old way,
yes.
What happens with the technology now is you have all the same tools, but they can go with you anywhere. So I can have a 96 channel board in my knapsack, right?
Yeah.
But I still have to know what to do. I still have to know how to use a compressor. I still have to know how to use an equalizer. I still have to know how to, how to sidechain. I still have to know all of these things. And all the technology in the world doesn't teach you how to do those things to get a particular sound, right? So technology isn't a bad thing. It does have its cons, because what I think has happened is it's made creation more accessible.
Yeah.
Right. And a lot of people, I don't know if the right word is to say feel threatened by that, but when you look at somebody like DJ Premier, right? Now, there's stuff Premier used to do that the regular Joe couldn't do, right? When he's making beats. Now, guy can simulate everything Premier does with a mouse, right? Or used to do. But one thing that they'll never do is legitimately get Premier sound.
Okay.
Can't do it.
Yeah.
Nope. Cannot do it.
I think that really is an interpretation of your creativity more so than anything,
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it here, every notable big name brand producer in Jamaica, I'm talking Donovan Jermaine, King Jammies, Bobby Digital, all of those guys, they have a sound that no matter, I've been to, rest in peace, Bobby Digital studio. I've been there hours on end. Donovan Jermaine, Penthouse Records. Haven't spent a lot of time at Jammy Studios. But you go to these guys' studios, right? And you hear their sound. I'm not even going front. I go back to my little studio and say, okay, I need to get that snare. And there is no technology in the world that can make me get this guy's snare, right? It doesn't happen, right? How do I eventually get it? I go there and I sit down and say, boy, Bobby, we see the EQ on that snare. How you get that sound? And, if they feel good at it, they'll tell you. But then you go back home and you do the same exact thing and you still don't get that sound.
Right.
So technology can only take you so far.
Right.
You have to have the knowledge and the understanding and the feel for the music and the creativity, right? If you don't have creativity, if you don't have knowledge and understanding, you're going to make things that are just like everything else.
Right.
That thing that people don't know why they like the song, they just like it.
Right.
They don't know why they like the sound, they just like it.
Right.
That technology doesn't do.
Can I jump in here?
Jump in and ask Trey, hey Trey, what's your production technique all about? Is it the computer? Is it like what we have via Control 24? Is laptop, desktop? What's your whole production? Not giving away all your secret, but what's your production setup all about?
Okay. Before I jump into that, right, I totally agree with Trevor, like 3,000%. Like I was having a, some young producers were talking, they came to the show the other day and they were talking about this. And they were talking about sounds and things of that nature. And I said, well, whereas you guys appreciate your computer sound, give me an old MPC 60 with the dirt in it any day. Right? Matter of fact, I don't have the older one. I don't even have the oldest one, but I got this. Oh, wait a minute. You can't see me. My bad. I actually got the 1000 just over here leaning. Just in case I might need to, you know what I'm saying? Because you can't beat that. It's so much deeper than the samples, right? So some people say, oh, well, you can grab the samples from an MPC and you can put them in the Logic, run through Slice, this, that, the third, or whatever. That's kind of true, and it's kind of false, right? So I'm going to give you a quick little history. I came through the Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis camp. So my lesson of production, or even some of the Al Green stuff when we were doing the NSB stuff with that, marking with those boys out of Memphis, their process is completely different. There was no, I remember, and this is going to tell my age for sure. I remember when we used to have to splice tape.
Yep.
Oh, wow. On 2-inch.
Yeah.
All day.
Y'all, I see all y'all on it. Y'all all on it. Y'all know what's up. CC, you have no idea.
CC don't have a clue.
He has no clue what we're talking about right now. I'm talking about when they had to take a razor, love, and do like this and stick some joints together.
Hey, Trey, remember how you had to turn the reels and get the exact spot?
Bro, it was
get them lined up.
overdubbed. It was costing you to overdub, to splice and cut. That was time. That was tape. That's where I know a lot of us came from. So to embrace it, strong, is definitely a thing. Yes, I have the Funkatelling stuff in the computer, but I also got an outboard Neve right here, 511, or an AP outside. It's certain little small stuff, and here it go, and it goes back to the sound, right? So sound. Let's deal with sound. It has to sound good first before you can make it better, is how I teach, right? So that's coming from that school of thought with Jam and Lewis. They make you do it over and over and over and over again before it was right. Wasn't no auto tune. What is this you're talking about? What is this foreign thing that you call auto tune? Sing that jink right, or even I've had conversations with people talking about some of the imperfections is what makes it great. If you really go back to some of those Michael Jackson untouched cut versions of his stuff and listen to the vocal solo, they're not perfect.
Right.
It was just good. And it worked.
It was a feeling. It was a feeling, the whole vibe.
Come on, Strong. You know what it was. It was just what it was supposed to be, and it was good. What has happened was these Kim Burrells, auto-tunes, all these different singers, and we done pitched everything to the point. Now everybody's tuned into 440, but I won't get into no 432 about Stevie and all this kind of stuff. We don't want to get too deep for the kids, okay? So we want y'all know what I'm talking about.
We can get deep now. Yeah,
we can't go there. We ain't gonna go there for the children.
We'll set up for later for the show.
That's a whole nother show, right? So it's like now, yes, you have to progress. There's no way around it. Me personally, the goal here was this chair. I needed to sit back in the chair, not on the lap. I got my two screens right here. That's why I see the cameras here, and I'm looking up because I have my two screens, and I'm here and doing like this. Everything is here. My bass rig. I got in-ears everywhere. I could do a whole band in this actual room. Four or five piece band in this room. So I like musicians because I am a musician. So we do a Bobby Brown show. The music.
Do some applauding. You won't do something. He clapping.
So
where AD at? AD should be cheering too. I know he over there somewhere. There you go.
You feel that like when you do a live show, right? And you take the computer things that you have done, right? The music in the computer is a musician. It is not the controlling force. That is not where the vibe comes from. This has been the great debate, right? So when we go and do records in the studio, no matter who it's for, and they say, hey, so we want to make this thing feel a certain kind of way. We want that live element. It's a way to make that happen while still being current. Because ain't nobody said nothing was wrong with PJ Morton. Nobody said nothing was wrong with Avery Sunshine. And I played on all of Avery Sunshine's records. It's a whole bunch of records that people play on. Bruno Mars. If that ain't that's live. Those are musicians. You know what I'm saying? But they forget Jay-Z and Wayne and all these boys. Like I said, I just did a couple of records on Jeezy. They didn't actually make this last record, but he likes musicians. Right? So there's a feel behind that. How do we merge those or marry those things and have the guitar in there? Some things I can, try, and I'm going to digress. I'm going to give it back to you in a second. But it's things, country music hasn't changed their formula. We have. Pop music has action.
Well, that's not true. Now you got Lil Nas X.
Yes. Okay. All right. You're right.
Geez. I think, the more and more I think about it, I don't know. It's like I guess we're trendsetters, man.
We are, but have we gotten away from it? Isn't that a question? Have we gotten away from?
I don't know. Sherm is responsible for a lot of this stuff you're talking about right now. So
I'm not mad at it.
We're gonna ask Sherm, because Sherm makes some of the most soulful music that I've heard.
I'm gonna be straight up with Strong. Like y'all. Like all y'all done told y'all age. I'm sitting back and listen to it. But god damn, can I cuss? I'm sorry.
Yeah, you can say what you want to say, man.
But it's just like, cause see, I'm right there in the middle. You feel me? And it's one of those kind of things where I came in on the tail end of hardware. So when y'all start talking about rigs and all this stuff, I know about that. But at the same time, that wasn't my process. We still went in the studio. We tracked out beats. We used a lot of outboard gear, MPCs, Triton, what have you. But the whole process is like with technology now, it's all about the circuitry for the most part. Like I'm an electrician by trade. Right. I got dedicated circuits. Even when I hook my MPC and plug it into the wall, it's that little humming sound that you hear. That's a sound in itself. You feel what I'm saying? But the warmth of outboard gear and some of the things that y'all touch bases on tonight, man, it's just blowing my mind, because at the same time, I'm in the process of building the sound. So I'm using the technology, but at the same time, I got a lot of outboard gear and things that I still introduce to the digital stuff that I have. And like I say, the circuitry, it just gives it a whole nother sound, to give it a whole nother feel, to where it's one of those kind of things that if I'm using a certain snare, if I'm using a certain drum, nobody gonna have that sound but me. You know what I'm saying?
So basically you're creating your own sound bank of instruments.
Yeah, man. Because that's what the whole thing was. It's like, I hate using Pharrell and Timbaland. Okay, we know they sound. All right. It's Timbaland sound when you hear Timbaland sound. A Pharrell sound when you hear Pharrell sound. And I don't mean sound on the count of just saying how the instrumentation or what they sound selection is. I'm saying sound on the level of just saying, okay, a Lil Jon snare drum when you hear a Lil Jon snare. You know what I'm saying? It's more so sound selection that I'm speaking on more than anything. So it get more intricate than anything, because you can identify a producer on how they select their sounds, or how they, how they play their shit. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of sense.
So it's just one of those kind of things, like, it just goes back to building a sound and have your own individual identity when it comes to producing. And I think that's more along the road that I'm on, versus just trying to sell a beat right quick. Because I can't compete these young guys, man. And they clicking the mouse, and that shit sounding good too. I'm talking about it sound like
you know what I'm saying? Sherm, we always say this, man. It's a video game that they're playing.
You feel me? So it's not like it's not like
no,
you're going in the studio.
It's a video game, man.
But you're not.
Because Butch be putting out videos, I'm like, damn, man, that look fun. You know what I'm saying? But he making music, but to me, it's like, oh man, this.
So for you to start from nothing, going into the studio, and build it and create something, and bring in a live bass guitar player, or you bring in a keyboard player, or you bring in a violin player, and just add those different elements. That's producing. That's, you know what I'm saying? Yes. You're actually creating something. You feel what I'm saying?
So just to add to that, like right now, I'm working on one of my own productions. Made the track about 13 years ago. Voiced this new artist, his name is Slash on it, about 7 years ago. So I'm just mixing it back now. Let me tell you about technology, what technology does not do. The drum kit was done in Fruity Loops, right? The bass line was done on a keyboard. And right now I spent about a week trying to get that track to sound the way I want it. And what am I gonna do now? I'm gonna go to the studio, call Kirk Bennett, drummer, and Dubs Brown, and say, yeah, okay, you hear this drum, you hear this bass line, play that back for me. Because I'm not gonna I can't use I can't get the sound that I want with what is there now, right? And
so you're gonna reproduce the digital production with live production.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I'm gonna take it back. So like all of the other stuff is fine, but
isn't it how that works though normally? Because I know Sherm, you sample Apex samples a lot. You know what I mean? And we're sampling live.
The difference is though, because I've had this issue come up before with other of my productions. Mm-hmm. The difference is those guys will listen to what's there and they're like, all right, cool. And when they're done, you have a completely different feel. Even though they're playing drums, they're playing guitar, right? They might play the same bass line, but the swing they have is different from a guy playing it on a keyboard, right? You know, Kirk is one of the top drummers in Jamaica. You can look him up, Kirk Bennett. And like, you know, if he gets into the like he did a track for me like a couple years ago, and there's a part in the bridge in that track where he's like going on the hi-hat, and it's like, oh my God. And he's like, yeah, I just felt like doing that. I didn't ask him to do it. I was fine with, you know, standard routine. This guy did. I was like, yeah, all right, I'll take it. You know what I mean? So you have that's what you don't get with tech. You can't get that kind of hi-hat on any electronic equipment. You can't get it unless you're playing it.
You can't reproduce that time.
Yeah, you're not getting it because you'll find that because they're playing, and you might do one take, which is the other thing technology has done that I think we don't fully appreciate. You see, in dancehall music, you know, if you listen to dancehall or reggae from the 80s, these guys were doing tracks on a 4-track tape, right? Mm-hmm. You didn't have the luxury of, you know, do 4 bars. Yeah, I didn't like how that sound. Let's start that over again. You do 4 bars out of 8. Let me stop here and let me start. You know, these guys did an entire song in one take, maybe 2.
Yeah.
Right. And you know, like when and I think, you know, when Pex and I were in Orlando, he used to marvel at this because I've worked with so many reggae and dancehall artists, right? I mean, it's probably a shorter list for me to tell you who I haven't worked with, But when these guys used to come to the studio to voice dubplates, right, which is really the songs that they have with sound system names in them. These guys used to come in and they're knocking out a 3-minute plate, one take, because they don't have time to take it over. And they're doing the entire song, one take, same way they used to do it in the studio. Now you're working with some artists, boy, them get tired after the first verse. Right? So you run the first verse and them stop. All right, cool, let me get a drink. You know, all right, let's do the chorus now. And they do the chorus and it's all right. And you spend like 20 minutes doing the first layer of the chorus and then you have to stack it. And you're like, really? I'm like, you know, you call somebody like, you know, Buja or Spragga, the man they come in and say, all right, run the track. And rhythm start play and the man them just start. Verse, chorus, joke, verse, everything. So you get 3 verse and everything. One take. Yeah. One take. Technology has made some artists lazy because they know they can stop. So they're not on point. So what happens now is when you see these guys performing on stage, what you hear on stage is a far cry from what happened in the studio because they were chopping it up. Right? So now, you know, that whole thing where you auto-tune it and you know, taking an hour to do, you know, one verse and all of that, they can't go on stage and do that. What you hear on the final record, they could never reproduce that live on stage because they never did it that way. So that's one thing that technology did that I'm not too cool with, which is why now you have ad-libbing because people get used to hearing the original. You know, the record that is being sold. The artists, they don't sing that anymore. Very few artists, you know, only the really talented ones, the R&B ones and so on that we know, go up on stage and can just say, you know what? I don't need no music. I don't need no ad lib. I'm just gonna sing this a cappella. Yeah. Right. So if you listen to Barrington Levy, goes to a show in New York, technical problems hits the production and the band. Guy says, all right, I'm just gonna sing. Barris Hammond, same thing. And dude just says, all right, no problem. We'll sing until the band catches up, until they figure it out. And what they're singing sounds exactly the same as what you used to listening to, because these guys, they're not basing what they're doing solely on the technology. And I've adopted that all the time. Some artists that I either work with or I produce, they get frustrated because I'm like, nah, that wasn't right. Sing it over. Yeah. I'm not auto-tuning it. Sing it over correctly. Right? And then when it's correct, then let's see if you really want. Auto-tune is an effect like reverb or echo. It is not a correction tool because you didn't sing the thing right. You know what I mean? So, that's kind of how, you know, you come up in this thing, you see how these guys do. Listen, I don't know if you guys know this guy, Papa San, right? Yeah. DJ from back in the day. I watched this guy DJ on a sound nonstop until the record ran out. He kept going. They put the record back at the needle back at the beginning, started to DJ again. That's how these guys used to do it. Hard pressed to find artists that can do that nowadays.
Hey, let me throw a question out there to all you producers. Like back in the 70s when I was growing up and listening to music, as soon as Earth, Wind and Fire came on, you knew it was them. Cameo came on, you knew it was them. Slave came on, you knew it was them. Al Green came on, you know, you knew it was them. So let me ask you, fast forwarding 50 years? Okay, I'm old. All right. But anyway, fast forwarding to now, would you guys say there's a wider amount of generic sounds, or is there a wider amount of trademark sounds, or what's your opinion of the balance between the amount of trademark sounds where you know, just like Timbaland, Dr. Dre's sound. What would you guys think is the trend right now as far as trademark sounds versus generic sounds?
Could I interject real quick?
Yeah, go ahead, Butch.
Okay. I would say now it's more generic than it was me growing up. My favorite of all time producers were Jam and Lewis. So when a Jam and Lewis production came on, you knew it was a Jam and Lewis because it was a rich, full sound that they had. You know, when it was an LA and Babyface sound, you knew it was LA and Babyface. You know, even going farther back to when I was listening to music with my father, Gamble and Huff, you knew a Gamble and Huff sound because when you listen to like, you know, the OJs or something like that, you knew that sound because it was a rich, full sound. But now the music is so generic and watered down, you couldn't tell one producer from another because they used a handful of the same sounds and they tried to sound so much like the next guy that the identity is kind of missing from it. That's my take on it.
No, you're absolutely right. I agree. It's generic because, again, you know, when you listen to reggae or even dancehall, from the 80s, the even into the 90s, early 2000s, Gussie Clark, who did a lot of the, you know, Telephone Love and those songs. You always knew his sound. He had a sound. His sound was because of his his engineer. His engineer was Stephen Stanley. Now, his bass line always sounded a certain way. Penthouse, Donovan Jermaine, he did the majority of Buju Banton. His rhythms had a specific sound. You knew it when you heard it. Dave Kelly, right? Dave Kelly. And something I learned recently, it's a couple of years ago, which I didn't realize with him. All of his beats are made in the key of C. All of them. He doesn't vary from that. All of them. C. But this guy ruled the 90s. Again, Bobby Digital, he had a particular kick. So you knew these guys. Every time you heard a song come on, you chances are you could tell who produced it. No?
Right.
Not so much. Even with hip hop, one of my favorites, which I started to appreciate, was this dude Seven Aurelius, because he had some sounds that he used to throw into his productions that were always his signature sounds that he had. So he did a lot of the stuff for Irv Gotti and Ashanti and them people there. But it was his sounds that were particularly intriguing to me. But you'd always know Timbaland. You would be able to know Dre. You know, those guys you would know. You'd always know. Premier. You just know when it's a premiere track, you know. So I think it's gotten way too generic to the point that you really don't even want to listen to some of these things because of how generic they are. So I would say there's a lot of generic going on now.
Yeah. Now, AD, how can we? Thanks, Trevor. AD, how can we, get out of that mode of the cookie cutter situation?
Yeah, see, my take on that really is the music industry itself. When I start seeing the adults being pushed to the side and the children getting contracts, I realized that record companies are business. And their whole idea behind what they want is not so much to push an artist into greatness, but other than to capitalize on their own money that they're making. So now they gain more control over giving the parents checks than they did trying to work with an artist that may be what we now call divas, or strong male artists that understand the business and can control their contracts. Then we started talking about owning our own music. So they really had to come back strong to keep the industry in their control. So what do we do? You know, the guys that we can identify that's on stage, you know, the time, you know, all those guys, Earth, Wind and Fire, those kind of guys, they started being pushed to the back with again this cookie cutter music. So it didn't matter for the most of my time, white female artists, I can't tell one from another, you know, that's out there, you know, and that goes with some of the boy bands that came through too, you know, that because it looked like to me it was a machine that was being produced that would take, you know, producers like you guys and say, if you don't follow my game, then I can't use you. I can't go with you. And so I don't know, that's the way I saw it coming and happening. I kind of still see it that way now. For the most part, and it's just going to have to be one of those things where I think a unified effort, man, to push artists back in their place and producers who know how to create music with that emotion in it. You know, you guys, you know the guys who, you know, like you say you got guys who got rooms. I'm one of them. Got a room full of stuff, man, but I don't know the stuff y'all know, you know. But you give me a microphone, I can do that song for you. You know, that's what's up. Yeah. But behind that, that producer that knows how to take digital format, analog format, and create the emotion in the song that will make it stand out, even without the words there. You know, that's the guy you want all the time. That's the guy you want to put your time in. And the rest, man, it's just, then of course that blended talent that you may be able to find that can do the same thing, that can capture an audience, either on sound or on stage. That's the stuff you want in the puzzle, man, that makes it happen. Other than that, man, you know, it's just, you know, it's creation. It's creation of what's on your heart and what's in your mind.
Anybody want to add on to that?
No, I mean, I agree with you 100% on that one. You know, what you're saying there, while you were talking, it kind of caused me to go and find a track that I did. So I produced a cover. It hasn't been released yet, actually. Haven't gotten the permission to do it yet. Of the song by Yvonne Elliman. Now, young people ain't going to know Yvonne Elliman, right?
If I Can't Have You?
No, Love Me.
Okay.
If I have time and you allow me, I'll play it for you. It hasn't been released yet. And the way that it's a reggae cover of that song. The funny thing about it was I only could find one artist here who could sing it that way. So it's like, I love the song. I remember it from when I was a little kid. I was just sitting around and I heard this one artist that I used to do work with, and I said, you know, you would sound good on this track, right? And you know, there's nobody else that I heard. I mean, like that Tessa and Chin wouldn't do it right. Elaine wouldn't do it right. Her voice just wasn't there. You start to kind of, you know, listen to these things in a completely different way. You're going back to some of these old tracks, and you're going back to tracks that are like challenging, because Love Me has a little offbeat in it. And you know, when you start to look at, okay, here again is that component of you know, not trying to sound mundane like everybody else. It's very important, because at the end of the day, when I actually heard, you know, to find out, well, I heard enough of it since I produced the damn thing, but when you hear the end result, and you're like, yeah, this could not have been a run-of-the-mill, you know, track done by a nowadays producer, like, you know, these cats nowadays. You're not going to hear this kind of thing from these kids because, one, you know, at the very beginning, I think it was either Sherm or Trey had said, you know, oh no, even Strong, I think it was, that says, you know, music kind of, you hear music, it takes you back to a time, and then that kind of inspires the work that you do. Now it's the same thing that happened with that song. I remember exactly where I was when that thing used to play, and it spurred some juices, and you're saying, yeah, this has to be done a particular way. It can't be done, you know, the regular way that we just sit down in front of, you know, a computer and do stuff. And, you know, it again really comes back to this vibe, this feeling, this understanding of the music, knowing why you have to have things done either, you know, live or, you know, in the box and so on. Because if you don't get that, it won't seem right to you. Which is why producers will start something and they don't finish it because they can't get it to sound right for themselves.
Trev, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
This Deuce, man. I'm 100% in agreement with you. When I write, I don't write for a specific artist, okay? But when a specific artist is presented to me, I listen to that artist's body of work.
Yes.
And I try not to stay within the body of work that they have done, but not to get so far away from the body work that they have done to try to sway them to an area that they would say, I'd like to try that. And then connecting with somebody that's involved with them, you know, tweak it basically.
Yeah.
Being an instrumentalist, I find that, and just like Trey, I find that being able to play an instrument is more, how would I say it? From the producer side, it's more fulfilling to hear live instruments. However, the song may be presented to me as a digital chop sample type song, but I can work within that sampling and create a live feel, so to speak.
Yeah.
So I totally understand where you're coming from, brother.
Yeah, no doubt. It's so important. It is so important to do. So like the work I'm doing with Pex now. There are 4 artists that, you know, these girls have, you know, kind of come onto the scene, and their vibe is a little different. I mean, when I say their vibe, even the way they sing, their voices, their lyrics. But I listen to them and the kind of tracks they're singing on. No, I'm like, okay. That works, but you hear them singing on something else that nobody out here does, right? So you kind of have to say, well, and I mean, if you guys ever get a chance, Lila Ikea, Savannah, those girls, take a listen to them. Pex can probably share with you this video that they did. All 4 of them were up in Irish Town. You did?
I shared it with Strong and Boost.
Share with the group, Pex, in the chat real quick.
Okay.
Yeah. Whilst they sing on reggae tracks, these girls have a sound that would sound really good on neo soul. But nobody out here makes neo soul. right? No, I could go and ask, you know, some of the musicians I know to do that, but I probably know a handful of them out here who could even, you know, get close to that. So what I do, I say, yo, Pex, I know your sound. We've done stuff together, and it's like, yo, your sound would work for these girls, right? And then when I hear what he sends to me, I'm like, yeah, this sound is only going to work for this girl, right? Because it's like, yeah, because Pex has a very interesting palette that he uses when he's making beats, right? So you kind of have to well, what I do at least is I listen to how they sing. A problem I find some artists have, they try to sing outside of their range too often. So, you know, you try to keep them in their range so that you can get the best out of them. Right. And once you do that, then they can do all sort of gymnastics in that range, and they sound really good, as opposed to killing themselves, you know. So I kind of try to, as you said, listen to their work, and then try to see how I think they'll fit into certain types of material, because sometimes you do that and they're like, yeah, you know, I never thought I could have done something, and it's the one track on their album that people are like, yeah, so this one I didn't see coming. Right? And it's like, yeah, that one really got me. I didn't see that from you. Yeah. You know, so yeah.
Can I add on to that? Asking a question to Trevor.
Yeah.
Pay attention, Deuce, you my man. Is there a limitation on creation? Does it have to be on key? Or if it feels good and sounds good, or even my man up there in the corner, I can't see his name, it says iPhone, but the brother in that corner, he was mentioning
Bruce.
And Sherm.
Butch. Big Club.
This question goes to the three of you guys. Does it have to be
okay
industry, on key, on note, or if it sounds good and feels good with the voice and the vocals going along and it works, is that acceptable? Or has to be by rule? It has to be industry by the book? That's my question.
No, to me, the first rule is throw out all the rules. If it feels good, do it. Because a lot of times I save the first one, and a lot of times we'll go back and use it, because to me, the mistakes sometimes, there are no rules. You let the music flow and let it speak to you. Wherever it goes, it goes. And if it lands in the right spot, then that's where it's supposed to be. Does that help?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. For me, well, so here's the challenge I tend to have, because I was, you know, my training is was formal. You tend to stay within certain boundaries. The thing about it, though, is the more you listen to things over the years, you start to see, okay. Listen to it in context, right? That's what you have to start doing, listening to certain things in context. And you start to realize that, and this is what I started to do many years ago, is when you listen to things in context, especially, I mean, if you guys listen to the kind of beats Pex does, like I said, he has an interesting palette. What I try to do is, while I'm staying within the boundaries, I arrange things to facilitate the things that go off center, as in the things that are not typically within the rule book. So what I do is I try to arrange stuff so that you still capture that feeling that you know a creator would have had, but at the same time, you know, the trained ear out there, and when I say trained ear, I mean the programmed ear, right, can still appreciate what it is that you're trying to put out. So take for example this girl. If you listen to Marie a cappella, her harmonies are ridiculous.
Yeah.
People would say like, "Oh my God, what the hell is this girl singing?" But they're fine. They're very difficult to do. Jodeci, those guys used to have some weird harmonies, but they were right. You have some beat makers out there that they have weird sounds, but in the context of the whole thing, works. So I'd say it doesn't necessarily have to be on key all the time. What I tend to do is I play around with arrangement to make certain things that may sound unorthodox sound more acceptable to the programmed ear.
Yeah. What about the brother with the beard? I wanted to hear your response to that.
Sure.
I'm sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
I mean, you know, I'm like that right here. If it feels good, keep it.
Right.
You know, it really ain't. You know, it really ain't no rule to it. I mean, I think for the most part, we play this game with ourselves, trying to make it sound so perfect and be in pitch and on key and all this old shit. I mean, it's one thing with you being formally trained and knowing music, but if it feel right, like your perfect imperfections be just what it is. It's perfect. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times your imperfections make a song. So it ain't no way to do it. You know what I'm saying? It's about your being able to get in that studio, being creative and bring something out of that session. You know what I'm saying? So that's just my.
I agree with that.
And
I totally agree with that.
I agree with it too. Another thing, a lot of people tell me that when I listen to CeCe Allure, they say that she's perfect. To me, she's not perfect. She's not industry standard, but she's just fine to me.
You stupid.
She fine. hey, she fine. Hey, she fine now. She fine.
Second that emotion.
Bro, she fine. And I ain't got nothing fucked up to say about it. She fine, bro. But at the same time, it's a one of kind of thing. Like, if it feel good, don't fuck with it.
Hey. And by the way, CeCe, Strong got a track for me just sitting there waiting with your name on it. So don't yell at me if I ain't never done nothing for you. It's all
Yo. Matter of fact, yeah, Strong, I need that. You made me put my roast down.
I had to go on air to say that because I've been getting that in for months.
Right, it's been a lot going on, but no, definitely. I need to get that from Strong.
So does CeCe have you have material like online that I can listen to, or that these guys can send?
Oh yeah, I'm Googleable or whatnot,
right.
You know.
Okay,
Google me, baby.
Fire.
I like that.
Lyrics and singing, fire.
Yeah,
I'm chasing her down.
And then we only have
honestly, that really be me, Pex. I got a preset with her vocal, and I just put her preset on my voice. Autotune and all that. Yeah, that's me. That really be me. I'm really CeCe Allure. I'm the voice behind CeCe Allure. How about
that thought is very, very scary.
Speaking of that, no. On some real thing, Devon, because and I know Sherm can attest, like, because I've been seeing lately how it's a lot of advertising for these prefabricated preset templates where if you want to sound like Travis Scott, you want to sound like CeCe Allure, you want to sound like Drake. You know what I'm saying? Do you partake in some of these presets that are out here on these plugins? Like, how does that work? Because I haven't played with none of that stuff yet.
I never used them. I believe they work, though, because I done walked in a couple studio sessions and they already have it set up. Like, you know, all thing you got to do. Boy, you breathe hard on that microphone. They picking you up breathing on the microphone, but it's just one of the kind of things. Well, and to me, if it still goes back to creating a sound. You know what I'm saying? Because you know, Travis Scott has his own sound. I mean, you know, T-Pain has his own sound. Future have his own sound, and all those in the same vein. They use that auto tune. you know, with the same thing of saying, you know, auto-tune is just like they've all created their own individual sound. They got their own identity with it. So it's kind of one of those things where, like me personally, I haven't used those presets or templates or what have you.
Right.
But, you know, I know some people who do. So it's just one of those kind of things where, you know, if you're not building a sound with that artist or creating, you know, if you're not taking that artist's voice and making it an instrument to your own liking, you know what I'm saying, for the world, you know what I'm saying, and projecting it to the world, I think it's just one of those kind of things. You're really just following a trend. You're just following the same thing everybody else doing.
Right. That's my point. Because I think, like, y'all was talking about the imperfections or, you know, the things that don't sound right, but if it feel good, you roll with it. And that's how new sounds are created. Unless you are trying to emulate somebody else.
I think when you're searching for stuff, you're making mistakes. You know what I'm saying?
And some of the mistakes that you make can be the best things ever created.
Right. Well, hey, man, before we get up out of here, I want to hear, you know, one last remark from everybody. You know, we'll just go around the room. We'll start with, we'll do the ladies first. We'll start with Tia. She just got back in the room with us. You know, this is just something, you know, for all of our viewers out there, man, just give them something. Leave them with something, man, that could possibly help them in their life or their career.
Well, for me, as far as being a lyrical writer, lyricist, I guess you would call it, my advice to individuals that are trying to get into that aspect, because Deuce helped me discover my gift for that. And I've been running with it ever since. Thank you, Deuce. So anyway,
much love.
If you're an aspiring songwriter, my best advice to you is write what's in your heart and keep it simple.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Tia. We appreciate your presence tonight. We're swinging to the other lady in the room. Cece, what about you?
My advice for everyone would just be pretty much just be true to yourself, because can't nobody be a better you than you. So
that's it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. What about you, Apex?
I concur with what you just said. Originality, like nowadays we're in this stage where you have a lot of duplicates, man. Everybody, you hear one snare or you hear one vocal, everybody runs after it and follows it and follows it and follows it. And then you listen to the music as a whole, everything is sounding exactly the same. Yeah. You need to go back to having individualism, more self-creativity, to where you stand out. Like, I hate to keep saying way back in the day, but you knew different groups, you can identify them because none of them sounded the same. You can identify them so easy. We need to really focus on creativity and originality.
All right. Thanks, Apex. Thanks for being with us tonight. What about you, Divine?
Yeah, my feeling is the same. You know, you continue to be yourself. When we first came to this game, if you came out sounding like somebody else, you was already getting the axe because you was trying to do something that you weren't. When hip hop originated, when I messed around, it was all about originality. We never wanted to sound like the next person. In fact, we wanted to sound as far from them as we possibly could. But that's not what they're doing nowadays. But, you know, that's in my genes. I'm abstract. You know, don't nobody know me now, but I have no rhyme or reason to what I do. I just do what the fuck I feel. Do what I feel. Pardon my language.
You just did what you feel, so that's cool. Say how you feel too. That's important too. What about you, AD? First of all, AD, where you at, man? Look like you on the
Star Trek.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I ain't want nobody to see what's in my room, man. It's kind of messy right now.
Beam us up, man. Beam us up.
Yeah. Awesome, good, man. Hey, look, I am so blessed to meet Sherm and Trevor and you know Butch and my other brother that was here earlier that had to leave. Thank you guys for the insight on where you guys are and what you're doing, and to see what it feels like to be as diligent with the work that you do, along with these other brothers that I've gotten a chance to get to know over the last few months. I myself, man, I tell you, I just say, you know, like say, keep doing what you do, what you love, and don't.
I think we lost you, AD.
Stuff, you know,
AD,
and,
AD, can you hear me?
Over challenging yourself.
AD, can you hear me? AD, you still with us?
To the folks that need to get it. Unstable. Yeah, I'm still here, man. I saw
Hey, go ahead. Hey, go ahead.
Yeah.
Man, I've been having, we have bad weather on our end, so I feel you on that. Go ahead and say that to the people one more time, please.
No, what I was saying was pretty much that, again, you know, continue to enjoy what you do. Don't let your enjoyment become a burden of worry, because that will stifle your creativity too. You know, just do what you do. I'm looking forward to 2021. Getting back on stage with Deuce, man, and ripping it up across North Carolina and the East Coast, man. So hopefully we get a chance to meet all you guys. I'm coming to Atlanta as soon as they open up the gate and let us out of here. And so I can see you guys face to face and shake your hand.
Sounds like a plan. Speaking of Deuce, where you at, man?
Hey, what's up there, Lyvation Conversation? First of all, I'd like to say I'd like to give my props to Sherm, Trevor, Trey, and Butch. Thank you for joining us and imparting very, very, very good knowledge on us. Being the type of person that I am, man, I'm still sponging. I'm myself and AD. You know, I'm putting you in there, AD. We're the elders of this group, and we've been doing it a long time, and we're still not starstruck. You guys are ground level, chill, cool people, okay? And if we ever get the chance to work with you and impart knowledge on each other, it would be a blessing. Thank you.
Thanks for your presence, Deuce, and words of wisdom as always. All right. What's up, Butch? How you living, man? What's happening, man? What you want to share with the people real quick?
Man, I'm blessed that you allow me to be a part of this conversation. It's an honor to be amongst these amazing musicians. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'd also like to say, if I could give a little word of advice for anybody that's listening, do what you love and it'll never be work. And be true to yourself. That's all I have.
That.
Appreciate that, bro. Appreciate that. What about you, Trevor?
Well, for me, from a musical standpoint, I'm, you know, was really happy to be part of this discussion. You know, awesome group of individuals here. So it relates to advice, and this is something I try to share with everybody that I work with. Trust your sound. Trust your sound. So it's a difficult thing to do sometimes, especially when you're trying to be like everybody else, because that's what people say you must do. But trust your sound. You know, find it, trust it. Just trust your sound. That's my advice. You can't go around with that.
Appreciate that. Respect on that.
I still have that. I know LA. You see, LA appreciates the tunes from back then. I'm gonna try to send you. I would play it on here, but you know I could only give you about 30 seconds of that thing. But I'm gonna hit you with that track because I don't even know if I'm not. What?
MP3 out. It doesn't take up much space in an email or whatever. Or send us.
Yeah, man. I have the MP3. I have the MP3.
Or a link. If you got it someplace else, just send a link.
All right. I'll do that. I'll do that.
Respect, Trevor. Glad you can make your acquaintance all the way from the islands. You know what I'm saying? Wish we was over there with you right now. I'm a hater. You know what I'm saying? I wish I was in Jamaica somewhere.
I feel like I know Trevor, man, from Pex talking about him all the time, man. I feel like I actually know him.
Oh yeah, we know you, Trevor. We've been knowing you, man.
Okay.
And if I may, real quick, man, because I didn't get a chance to do this, just to my man B Club and Sherm and Trev and Deuce and you and Pex, yes, you know, I just appreciate y'all, man, because I did a lot of growing up and learning, especially from you, Deuce, Pex, my brother Milk. You know, I did a lot of learning from y'all. You know what I'm saying? I just appreciate everything that y'all bring to the table in the format that we still got open right here. Libation for life, baby.
For sure.
Hey, feel free to hit me up. Hit me up anytime you need something. Let me know. Yep. I'm available.
Okay. Matter of fact, I got you. B Club. I wrote it down. bclubproductions.com.
Yep.
Most definitely. Most definitely.
All right, Sherm. What about you, Sherm? We're gonna keep it moving real quick.
Yeah, man. Just like what AD said earlier, man, just love what you do. And personally, man, I'm honored to be amongst y'all, man, and I'm still learning myself. I mean, I might be the younger one. I might be the young one on their phone call tonight, but my experience and things that I've, been through, just from a music standpoint, it's conversations like this that we need, man. It helped move the culture forward, you know what I'm saying? For the young generation and for the, new generation. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't consider nobody on here old. You know what I'm saying? Y'all young, like y'all been doing this shit, man. We new, like we brand new to this shit. So I'm just trying to figure it all out too. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, Sherm, check this out. You're always a student and you're sometimes a teacher.
Yeah, man.
I don't care how old you are.
But I'm gonna leave it with this right here. I'm gonna just say that, Divine, and it's one of these kind of things where, I had to find myself doing this. But find your artist. Find your artist and build a sound with that artist. That's just one of the things, just being a producer. I mean, because you can run yourself ragged, man, then the way the world is now, everybody producing and making beats. You know what I'm saying? It'll be one thing to just go to YouTube and grab a beat right quick and then record, and then you got a song. I mean, that's good for studio business, but for producer business, you know what I'm saying? There's a door. Okay? There's a industry producer door and there's a YouTube producer door. You know what I'm saying? But that YouTube producer, chances are you might get a little Nas X situation. You might just hit somebody, get your beat and make a big song or whatever the case is. But the industry producer, I feel like if you want the long haul, you want to be in this business, you want to make some real cash, find your artist, man, and build. You know what I'm saying? Build on life. You know what I'm saying? Build on the sound. Like, you know what I'm saying? Really just connect with, because you never know what you can pull about a person. You know what I'm saying? So that's just what I leave people with. I leave them with that.
Thank you, bro. That was some solid information.
Peace, Sherm. Peace, brother.
Yeah, man.
Strong. I put the track in the chat so you can check it out.
Cool.
Sherm.
Yeah, we're going to check it out.
Sherm, real quick. Remember this, bro. Wisdom has no age, man.
Okay.
That's right.
That's a good thing.
Okay.
That's all right. That's just saying he's old. Okay, we get it.
You're not going Bruce or AD.
Right. LA for real though. Speaking of LA, what's up, LA? I know you got some to leave with the people. Besides your Musicology 2101 series, book series you got.
And I'm not trying to take the trophy on age, but I'll just go on and say I'm looking 60 in the eye. And I'll be over there soon. But I'm going to just live it life, a day at a time as I can. But my gem is that no matter what kind of music you listen to, the people that are closer to the 20s and 30s, I understand that rap and pop is more in today's vein of music. But if you listen to today's music, if you mostly listen to today's music, I suggest, and I say it through my books all the time, if you flip every couple pages, you're going to see in my book that I say, get uncomfortable. Go listen to other music genres besides what you listen to every day. Go listen to some old 50s music. Go listen to some blues. Listen to 60s music. Listen to 70s funk, rock, reggae, R&B, soul. Go as far as Latin music. Go listen to some music with with words you don't understand on it. Listen to some Indian music, listen to Asian music, listen to classical, listen to opera. There's going to be something that sends off a bell sometime. And if not, just go back to, you know, listen to your music, jump all over the place. You're always going to have a home base of music to listen to that you're going to say, this is my music. But every now and then, go on and get yourself uncomfortable.
Man, I like that, man. Success is not convenient and it is not comfortable. You know, as long as people remember that, I think we'll, you know, the world will be a better place, man. So thank you for that, LA. Appreciate that. I want to thank all of our panelists, all of our guests, that producers that we had here this evening. I want to thank all of our viewers out there. Please don't forget to subscribe, like the videos, leave a comment. Until the next episode, peace and Lyvation.
Peace.
Peace. Guys, take care.